Welcome to Betrayal Trauma Recovery, BTR.org. I'm Anne. I'm sure you remember what it was like when you were searching for help, maybe for your husband, hoping to find the right program or therapist. That's why I started podcasting. I supported my husband through 7 years of pornography addiction recovery, and not one therapist during that time told me I was experiencing emotional and psychological abuse and sexual coercion. I didn't want any other woman on the planet to be in the dark. If you're like the majority of my listeners, you're experiencing the type of abuse that's invisible and difficult to wrap your head around. Your husband is using porn or having affairs or lying to you, and you're getting the same bad advice about how to improve communication or your relationship. If you need support from women who totally understand, check out our daily group session schedule at btr.org/group. We'd love to see you in a session today. One simple, anonymous way to help spread the word is to click, follow, or subscribe to the Betrayal Trauma Recovery podcast. While you're there, every 5-star rating helps make this podcast more visible and will help save other women from getting the wrong kind of help, like a couple program that will make this type of abuse worse. For those of you who follow or subscribe to this podcast, thank you so much. Your support means so much to me. On this week's episode, I asked our coaches to see if our Betrayal Trauma Recovery group session clients would want to stay after their group session and share their feelings and experiences with our podcast listeners. And some of them wanted to be recorded and others wanted to write their thoughts and have me read it. I'm also going to read some reviews that we've received. So I'll either be reading what women have shared, or you'll be hearing it from when the coaches recorded it after one of the BTR group sessions. I'm going to go back and forth so my voice doesn't get tired.
I probably listened to the podcast for about 4 years before things just accelerated to the point that I had to take action. The BTR coaching combined with the podcast were the two things that saved my life. I had been to 3 therapists who told me it was all my fault and I needed to go do my family of origin work and stop trying to control my husband, who was just continuing to stomp all over everything that was sacred that I was trying to build with him. I felt like there was a severed artery. He and the therapist and I were sitting there. It's just spewing blood all over everybody and nobody's saying a word, and it felt just like gaslighting to me. I think therapy was very abusive because I was definitely abused by 3 different therapists in that codependent model who were telling me those things. It's infuriating that women are made to feel this way when they're trying to get help. That's all we did for the last 2 to 3 years we were together, was S groups and CSAPs. It just got worse. Everybody was like, read this book. And I was like, I don't need a book. I need help. I felt this mentality too that like, we're going to go to therapy and everything is going to get fixed. And that's just kind of ridiculous. I was a failure in therapy 3 times, and I was considered a failure in recovery as well. We have to feel safe and we have to feel heard. And we have to feel valued. And I did not feel any of that until I found BTR. BTR really just was pivotal in my healing. So things can turn around with the BTR abuse model. And the truth, my heart sheds a tear for every new woman that comes into group. But my heart jumps up and down because she's here. I was able to do individual sessions to work on the really hard things. That's a beautiful gift, to get up the guts after listening to the podcast for 4 years. I'm so filled with gratitude.
Here's one she wanted me to read. I was desperate for help and searched the internet for answers. I came across a BTR podcast about gaslighting. So this is what I'd been experiencing in my marriage for 26 years, and there's a name for it. It was a literally mind-blowing revelation to me that led me to the BTR website, where I went on a podcast binge and listened to everything. When I started attending BTR group sessions, my life began to get exponentially better. Thank you, Anne, and the BTR coaches for being exactly what I need.
BTR groups have definitely helped me know that I am not the only one who has experienced emotional and psychological abuse and sexual coercion. I did think I was alone. Been so isolated for over 2 decades, and to finding the group and hearing so much of my story and other women's stories as well has really helped me feel connected and less isolated and know that I have language and I am able to make plans and know exactly what I'm doing with the truth to help my life move forward. The groups I'm coaching have really changed me. I am so grateful that they're here and willing to share and give coaching to improve all of our lives and to seek safety first.
So here's another one. She said, "Hello, Anne. My husband lives in an upside-down world, and I am not able to make sense or understand what he has done. No right-sided person could stand to be in an upside-down land. I am getting better every day. Thank you for BTR. Thank you for investing in us. Your kids are blessed to have such a strong, deliberate woman for their mom and role model. Keep sharing, keep advocating. You have impacted a lot of lives."
The skills that I've learned in BTR originally concentrated with my abuser, but the skills that I got and the education that I've gotten has transitioned to so many areas of life that I am able to use the restored intuition I have to see these people who feel entitled to my life, my skills, my story, to use for themselves. And I'm grateful I have those skills.
Here's another one. "Anne, your faithfulness and perseverance is encouraging, inspirational, and motivational every day. Right now, it doesn't seem like there will ever be a different side to my story because I am in the thick of it. I was listening to one of your podcasts and I thought to myself for the first time that this pain won't own me forever. I will own it one day. I look forward to that day. I would not know that if it wasn't for you and the most excellent coaches at BTR."
BTR has been an amazing godsend for not just me, but my family, because it's provided a safe place for myself and then also my mom to process the abuse that was happening in our respective relationships and get to safety, in addition to a number of my friends as well. So I'm extremely grateful for BTR and all of the coaches here.
Here's another one. "I want to let you know that BTR was a lifesaver for me. It was barely over a year ago that I found your organization. Wait, I didn't find you. God brought me to you. It changed my life. I just want you to know how much of a difference you make in the lives of hurt women. Please don't stop doing what you're doing. There are a lot of women out there who desperately need what BTR has to offer, and I know this because I was one of them."
BTR group sessions for me have allowed me to feel less alone and be inspired by amazing women.
BTR groups and podcasts and books have been amazing for me. Being able to go to people that understand and not be told some of the things I've heard through years of therapy with my husband after 10 years in, finding out what I had no idea. I've been told a lot of different things like, "What are you doing?" or repeatedly, "How can I support him more?" And even, "Why are you crying? This has nothing to do with you." Family minimizing or believing that even money issues or different things is on me. Spent a year with one therapist trying to explain and teach her and giving her books. We've been through many years and actually has another therapist. He's like, "How can I support him more and how can I keep him from getting the access?" For me is to be able every day to get on if I need to, not being blamed for something that is out of your control that a grown adult person is doing and doing to you. To have the podcast that really makes things make sense for me, I'm really thankful. Thankful is an understatement. I am just, God bless, and may this expand to churches and government and countries. Thank you so much.
I stumbled across a video on YouTube the other day, and as I was listening to it, I thought I recognized your voice. I went up to the title and did a double click, and it turns out it was you. It was Anne. I was tickled pink. I knew I recognized your voice. You have a one-of-a-kind voice, by the way. That you're on YouTube means that you are reaching more people, and that, my friend, is awesome.
For me, group meetings have been with me through the whole entire process, from first figuring out what was going on in my life to navigating post-separation issues and custody issues. I just cannot put enough value on the practical advice and the emotional support and the community with other women. It's really helped my growth into the future.
Here's what one woman wrote about Betrayal Trauma Recovery group sessions. I like attending group with women who have walked in my shoes, who can understand my situation. I greatly appreciate the expertise of the coaches.
I remember the day that I first found BTR. I was sitting on my back porch listening that day, desperately seeking some kind of help for my soul. I listened to Anne calling betrayal what it really is and acknowledging the pain and trauma that it really causes to us women. That podcast changed my life. As I listened, I burst into tears of healing validation. Finally, someone was calling pornography use for the betrayal and harm that it actually is. Someone was seeing how abusive it is. Finally, someone had put together all the pieces of the puzzle, and so many things finally began to make sense. It was my first moment of validation and clarity. Anne set me on my path of strength and healing right that moment because she was brave enough to share her own strength and healing. BTR Group is the most healing place that a woman can possibly be after experiencing betrayal of any sort. It's a safe, sacred, and healing space. The abuse-informed and trained coaches are amazing, loving, and wise, and they all remind us that there is healing to be found as you navigate through this experience of betrayal trauma. I just want to give a big forever thank you to Anne, the betrayal trauma coaches, and to BTR.
Another client wanted me to read this one. I attended Betrayal Trauma Recovery group sessions at the most crucial point of my discovery of infidelity. These sessions carried me from day to day and gave me strength. I had so much in common with the other women in group. These are caring, articulate women. I have so much good to say. The format is the most clear and safe and ethically run support group I have ever been a part of.
I'm very thankful for BTR. I feel that God led me to the website when I watched my first video on pornography and how it affects your relationship. I am a firm believer that pornography is infidelity. BTR, through the group sessions, has been so instrumental in my life. I've been going the last 4 months. I can get on every day and feel immediate love and support and validation from the coaches and the ladies on the meeting. I just can't thank the coaches and Anne and BTR enough for helping me through this journey. I feel very positive about my life, my future, because I know I'll always have BTR and I know they're going to help me get through it.
Another woman wrote, unconditional support and the feeling that you all get it because you have all lived it. These are women who understand, women with similar issues, and women who support each other.
Betrayal Trauma Recovery has helped me put the appropriate names to what I was experiencing, and that would be abuse. It took me a long time to label what I had been experiencing was indeed abuse. This group, it helps you feel like you are not the crazy one. A lot of us come from like traumatic backgrounds. And so it's nice to know that like I'm not the only one. The coaches, there's inclusivity, and I just really appreciate the pornography is abuse period, because it's so easily pushed to the side as a non-issue. And it's affecting so many really pure, noble women. It helps me feel empowered to take the next step in my journey, whatever that step might be. I just want people to know that they're not alone, that they can listen to their intuition, and that that's not them going crazy. And by coming to BTR and sharing that in a vulnerable way, in a safe way, you feel more empowered after you leave the session every time.
Another BTR group session client wrote, BTR group sessions are always there when I need them. The women and coaches in the group know exactly how painful and challenging every single day can be. The validation and guidance is invaluable.
I feel because of this group, I'm going to get my life back. This is a place that actually helps women and empowers them. And I feel a lot more empowered because of this group. And I've been gaslit my whole life. Up until BTR, I didn't know what the truth was. The coaches and all the women being vulnerable and speaking their truth, I could finally find a place where I could identify with what was going on, for my body to hear what was going on. Because my whole life, I've been told what I'm feeling and what my intentions are. And, I've been searching my whole life to try to figure out what was going on. Because there's always that part of me that told me that there's something deeper going on. And this group has changed my life. I finally had a chance to hear the truth and be safe. This group gave me safety and give me the chance to decide for myself what I want.
Another woman wrote, BTR has been a lifeline for me that is indescribable. Thank you very much. In BTR group sessions, I felt accepted and respected. I love the fact that I can get help from home, as I'm sometimes unable to leave my house. The coaches provide helpful, insightful feedback. They're knowledgeable, kind, patient, and have helped me stay grounded in reality. The other women in group provide much needed community and validation. BTR has been a godsend that I can share what I'm going through with other women that understand. It's been amazing.
I've now been on BTR meetings. I discovered BTR through Google. I Googled betrayal trauma support, and this was after how many years of being in the codependent model therapy groups out there. And I don't want to name them, but they're basically have been following the Alcohol's Anonymous models recommended by my husband's CSAT, but to finally find an online, and it's really the only one, group where you actually have well-trained, the most educated coaches who actually facilitate the group, because I've had to stop attending another group because they allowed cursing and the rules were not really well thought out. So to have a place that has rules, that has structure, that has guidance, and then you have the safety protocols and then anonymity is the best investment that you can make, especially for betrayal trauma. I've done years of research and just going through different rabbit holes, even suffering trauma from a very invasive local so-called betrayal trauma CSAT. I listened to the podcasts and I said, I've got to join the group. I've got to join the group. I've done all the other groups. It doesn't hurt to try, right? To hear yourself in the stories of others. The coaches have been through trauma themselves. That to me was just such a huge bonus, to actually speak to women who've been through what you've gone through and they've survived and they're thriving and now they're helping all of us. To have all of that in one package. I've tried. I've paid so many memberships and I've been to so many meetings. So I know it's not out there except on BTR. It's not about being ready, because in trauma, you're always going to feel like you're not ready. So it's almost like you've just got to take that medication that you need right now, even though you don't feel like taking it. And it's the medication that you need, like as we speak. And it's the most healing. No one's here to judge you. No one has you under a microscope. Everybody's very much in your shoes, walking the same journey. You will find yourself finally healing. And it is one day at a time, one session at a time, one coaching at a time. It's the best gift. I'm 7 years since discovery. So it's not too late if you've just discovered your husband's infidelities, whatever it is that you've just discovered. And if you're 10 years after discovery, and even if you're divorced or separated or even widowed, but you're still suffering from the trauma and you still want to heal, you want to connect heart to heart and mind to mind with other women and connecting with the coaches. That's my lifeline to sanity and serenity at the same time. I am a mother of 8 children, and my children need me. I need them to know that they can conquer this and they can move on and build beautiful, successful lives because we are worth it.
One woman wrote just a very simple email to me. She said, BTR group sessions are amazing. I love to have a place where I can reach out for help and know I'm not alone.
I am very grateful to BTR. I did not have knowledge of what was going on in my life and how I was being abused to the extent I was. BTR has given me courage and the coaches to continually to move forward and to strengthen me and to guide me. They've saved my life. The encouragement has been incredible. And I am just beyond blessed. And I couldn't have done this without BTR and the coaches and the women on BTR. They have been a godsend. I have made great friendships through this. BTR has just strengthened. I'm not alone. And without having family and being around toxic family members and not having anything to do with them, I didn't feel alone hopping on the meetings. I highly recommend BTR. It is life-saving. And thank you, Anne, for your podcast. I'm beyond blessed.
Here's one from a client she wanted me to read. I was blessed to find BTR's podcast very soon after my husband's first disclosure of porn use. He disclosed that first time 5 years ago. So for 5 years, other than BTR, I had almost no one to talk to or confide in because other professionals or people I tried to get help from only made it worse. I often used to fall asleep listening to the podcast, listening to Anne. I knew I wasn't alone and I wasn't crazy. I would calm down as soon as I heard her voice. God used BTR to help keep me strong even as things got worse, and he continued to use porn, solicit compromising pictures from women online, and start a 3-year-long affair with a 19-year-old, all while gaslighting me and lying about me to his family, friends, and other people we went to for help. Anne, you are doing wonderful things. You're the only thing that kept me sane during that time. Without you and your podcast and the services at BTR, I would have been much more vulnerable to abuse, depression, and suicidal thoughts. Thank you.
When I first discovered BTR on the podcast, I felt all of a sudden validated. I felt not alone. It took me a while, several months actually, to join the BTR group. Honestly, because I was afraid that I would, just become an angry, bitter woman who hated men. And I found that to be absolute opposite of what has happened. I have felt completely empowered. I have felt validated. I have felt heard. I have felt seen. I have felt seen when I couldn't see myself. Yeah, it's the very best thing that's happened to me.
Here's what someone wrote on Amazon about Trauma Mama, Husband Drama, my picture book for adults. She said, Anne says exactly what I didn't know I needed. Trauma Mama Husband Drama is very informative and extremely easy to read. I'm so grateful I found it. The most helpful was the simple definitions in the back that gave me a voice and made me feel supported. If you have purchased a copy of my book, Trauma Mama Husband Drama, please remember to circle back around and leave a 5-star rating on Amazon. That helps women who are isolated find us. And even if they don't purchase the book, it helps them find this podcast, which is free to everyone. Okay, now we'll continue listening to Betrayal Trauma Recovery group session clients as they share their experience.
BTR has been a group that has completely changed my life. It was something I didn't even know was out there, didn't even know that I needed, but has been godsend. It's life-changing. The coaches are just your sister, and they walk with you. They help you all along the way. It's also been good just to be able to watch the other ladies in here, to know that you have a group of people that completely understand where you are, what you're going through, and even to see the progress. You get inspired by their walk, and to see the growth that they've done. Now have the knowledge that we need to move forward to heal, whether we decide to stay or go. BTR just really helps to heal us one step at a time and from the inside out. So I'm so appreciative of this group.
There are a lot of so-called betrayal trauma therapists or coaches or groups out there, but they don't approach pornography use or infidelity as an abuse issue. Or they try to quote-unquote treat the victim and the abuser in the same setting. That's unethical. So if you hear something in this episode you relate to, check out the group session schedule at btr.org. We'd love to see you in a group session today.
I discovered BTR just within the last month, and I am more than 10 years post-divorce. I'm now hearing words that my soul has longed to hear for many decades as I walked this journey just without the resources that I needed. So I've experienced more healing that I just needed at this point in my life. The podcasts give me vocabulary and tools and affirmation. By attending the group sessions, I feel affirmed, I feel clarity, I feel appropriate sadness. So I'm very grateful for finding BTR. I really appreciate the professionalism of the group sessions. There are safeguards in place, so I feel like it's a safe place to come. BTR coaches love us, and they're so well trained. So I'm very, very grateful for BTR.
This client wanted to share her feelings about the btr.org Living Free workshop. And so when she says workshop, that's the workshop she's talking about. You can learn more at btr.org/livingfree.
For me, the workshop has been so beneficial. The light bulb for me that I was living in a place that wasn't really reality. And going through that workshop and seeing the visualization and building upon what I had already learned in group took me from a place of being stuck to moving me to where I know God is carrying me and going to take me. Also, just understanding the past 20 years of my life and why I became stuck, why. And now that I'm out of that cave, I'm never going back. Because at this point, I'm living in the light. And once you're in the light, it's not going to happen anymore. The workshop built upon what I already knew and confirmed it, solidified it, and it's taken me to the next level. So thank you.
If this podcast is helpful to you, please help us reach other women by following or subscribing and giving us a 5-star rating. Thank you for helping other women find us. If you've already purchased a copy of my book, Trauma Mama, Husband Drama, please circle back and give it a 5-star rating. A lot of women are searching for books about betrayal trauma on Amazon, and rating Trauma Mama will help them find this podcast, which is free to everyone. Your donations keep this podcast going. Go to our website, btr.org, scroll to the bottom, click on Support the BTR Podcast. And until next week, stay safe out there.